And so this was me asking to meet Chris Whitty, and although I'd read the phrase global pandemic, Chris Whitty telling me there's going to be a global pandemic, was shocking to hear from him. But it's the first time I'd met with him since we knew about this virus, and he was telling me this is going to be a global pandemic.
Confirming, obviously, also adding much more detail, the consideration, the suspicion that you had before, which is that London, because of its status as a transport hub and proximity of so many people living together, would be ahead of the rest of the country in the development of the virus.
Absolutely. I think at this stage, Mr. O'Connor, we may have had an example where a school had pupils who had the virus, and that school may have closed down because of a skiing holiday in Italy. So that was also the fore of my mind. I was aware that the virus was in London because of the school closure, but it's clear from what Chris Whitty was saying, the impact on London was going to be huge. An example of how I received it was that week I decided to cancel the St. Patrick's Day event on the Sunday, just on the basis of what Chris Whitty had told me and about the impact of the virus. This was in advance of me going to the first Cobra. I think St. Patrick's Day was going to take place, the event in Trafalgar Square, that Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, I was told for the first time by the Prime Minister and others how bad things were. I'd been briefed by the CMO the week earlier, but not with the colour that the Cobra meeting presented the challenges in London. We're now told that just the concentrations of the cases in ICUs in London are really serious. The Prime Minister is using words like, this is the biggest challenge we're going to face since the Second World War. Draconian measures are going to be needed. And this is not in any way, sort of delusions of grandeur, but I'd been kept in the dark as the elected Mayor of London. And I felt almost winded in relation to what was happening in London, but also realising there are things we could have done in relation to some of these issues. Some we did, St. Patrick's Day, enhanced cleaning on the underground. Others we didn't do. And I was quite clear, not in any way to sound panic-driven, but I was alarmed by what I was being told in relation to where we were and where we may go to. And I will never forget that sort of feeling of lack of power, lack of influence, not knowing what's happening in our city.
Now,
so can I just ask what you would have done? I mean, you'd been told on the 11th of March by the CMO that there was going to be a global pandemic and it was coming to London and the impact was going to be huge. You said you had limited powers. Supposing that message had come from government as opposed to Chris Whitty, who obviously is a government employee, what would you have done differently in those 5 days?
Some of the things that happened subsequently. So it was me that lobbied the Prime Minister to go to lockdown. It was me that lobbied the Prime Minister in relation to the inability to keep social distance on public transport, so people shouldn't be using public transport unless they had to.